All right, hey, it looks like we're up and running. Let me check my signal here to make sure that the sound's coming through okay. I'll do some really fast social media posts just to upload the link, and then we'll get to work here for probably like around 90 minutes this morning. Looks like we're up and running and checking in on our volume. Looks like we're up and volume sounds pretty good. Let's drop that there, and I think I can tilt this up a smidge to make the sound on a little bit better for me here. That's probably going to be a little bit better. Cool. Let me grab that real fast. We're going to just do some real quick social media posts, and then we're going to get started today. So, for those that are new to the channel, hey, my name is Phil Karrnwood. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And we are currently creating an adventure for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition using 2024 rules. It'll be published on the DMsGuild in the Eberron campaign setting called Crystals of Mabar. You can see the book cover here on screen. We made that back around episode 40. And social media posts are done, so let me go ahead and get out of this and we'll get to work. I stream Monday through Friday in the morning like this, doing artwork for whatever our current book is, and in the evenings and at lunchtimes during the week, we do game design for other 5e rules. Hey, good morning, Fernando. So if you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we're live in the future. Here's a bunch of books I've already created that are on the DMs Guild. They have free previews. Be welcome to check them out. If you think they're cool and you're a 5e enthusiast, consider making a purchase if you think they'd add value to your campaign to encourage similar behavior in the future. Here's the entire playlist of all what is now 499 episodes. So, as an appreciation for clearing, hold on. Check. Yep. No. All right. Well, anyway, if you check out my Patreon, my brush set is available that we've been using to create these tokens and doing the maps that we've been creating. So I guess without further ado, I'll go ahead and just get to work. I thought I had something more to say, but I guess not. So let's fix monitor placement here. I'm gonna grab this and just drag it down a bit for my own visibility. And okay, so let's clear this book cover out of the way. We're now making pine tree tokens. So we finished the pine tree illustration, the painting in the book on the yesterday on episode 498. So you can go take a look at that completion if you wish. But now we need to finish making the map tokens for actual play use. Paintings are great, but we need functioning material. So these are the. I can hear myself still, so I need to drop my volume a little bit more. There, that should do better. Right, so these are pine tree tokens that we've been creating. Let's see, where is an example? Here we go. So these have canopies. You lift off the canopy, you can see the interior. There's a shadow. Get rid of that. Right. So here's the space that the branches and the trunk occupy, and then each of these has a separate token layer, which is the canopy that sits on top of it. So if your team is just walking around the forest, you see the trees. If you go underneath a tree, and it's something that the DM wants to focus on, you can pop the lid off, and climb up into the tree or whatever you want to do, or fight monsters, etc. And there you go. So you can see the forest for the trees. And I'm going to minimize the stuff that's here on camera to help focus our attention. Don't. We still have, let's see, how many of these do we have left? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 trees, plus the one that we're currently under construction. So that's 5 more trees. We've already done 14 of them. So there's a wide variety of different sizes, shapes, radius, total number of branches underneath on each one of these. So we need to, when we're building the maps for this adventure, we're also providing in the adventure in a zip file all the tokens that we're using to actually build the maps. So when you pick this up, not only will you have all the stuff that we've already constructed for you, but you'll get like this necrotic swamp kit, the token, the forest token kit with both deciduous trees as well as pine trees, yeah, and all the monster tokens and stuff like that go along with it as well. So it has expanded higher value use beyond just what the adventure itself is using it for. It's like everything else in the adventure. It's kind of designed to be a toolkit for a DM to just make stuff with. Plus, you can expand on the adventure by adding random encounters and optional encounters that you can use to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That you can use just to expand the content. So we provide you with the tools that you need to expand that content. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is going to be a 7-spoke tree. That feels about right. Let's bring this in a touch. So this is the same process we do for all these trees. I mean, I've spared you from watching the prior 15 trees under construction, but we're now at a point where finishing these maps is all we need to do to finish the first section of the adventure. So we're just gonna do some tokens today, just because we need to get the work done. If I don't get all 5 finished today, then I'll finish them tonight and online I'll finish them tonight and over the weekend. If everything goes smoothly, I'll have all the maps completed and assembled in the section before Monday. Monday will be episode 500, and so we'll start on a completely new section of the book. We've been hanging out here in part 1 for months, and now we get to move on to part 2. Most of part 2, part 3 is maps and tokens that are already made. So it's the remaining appendices that we have, which is going to be the brunt of artwork that we'll need to do for the rest of the production. There are a number of illustrations that we need to make in the appendix section, which is where we detail alternate plot hooks and how to use them in the adventure. So we'll be spending probably the rest of the episodes, probably another 150 episodes we'll be spending in creating additional art assets throughout the appendices. So if I can collapse time frames faster than that, God's willing, I will. But you can't rush the process. You gotta do everything. So once everything is done, we publish it, and then we move on to the next book. So the next book that we're gonna work on is the Bastions campaign. That will be. We might just, after. We might not have the Bastion campaign ready for an editor and publication prior to completing this adventure. So we might be, once this adventure is done, we might be doing book covers. Martial Powers book cover, Bastion campaign book cover, Spelljammer Kaiju and War Golems and Mega Kaiju will be a Spelljammer book. Spelljammer Subclasses is another book. That's 5 books that we need to do. That might be what we're going to be spending our mornings doing, just working on book covers for a while. So I haven't really thought that far ahead, because we still have we still have 3 digits worth of episodes to complete here. So potentially another 3 months worth of production. All of July, August, September. That's my tight goal, to be done by September. But then also October and November, if I have to stretch, November will be my longer winded goal to get this thing published and out the door. It's a huge project. So it's also the first adventure that I've ever actually created from scratch for publication. And boy, there's a ton of lessons that I'm learning from this project. How much work goes into an adventure. And they're major loss leaders. You have to have adventures for your role-playing games so that people have kind of a frame of reference for like how did the creators intend for this this game to be ran. And it just supports that, hey, you know, if you buy this product, if you buy this this role-playing game, it's not a one and done, we'll never see it again. It has support. That's what adventures do. So they're designed to lean into buying more content for a role-playing game because you're creating content to use the game. But it is a massive loss leader. Like, the amount of time and effort that it takes to go into building one of these things for me at least. I mean, maybe other people know how to make them more efficiently, but 500 episodes so far on this. That's a lot of Mai Tais. So that's a lot. The work is satisfying. It's just so slow. Making character options and DM options is building books for them. There's not so many assets. You don't have all the maps and the tokens. You don't have to worry about being precise about what page specific pieces of information on so that they can correspond with the maps that are also on that page. There's a lot of moving pieces that work together. You have to do something special for the 500 video. You'd think so, right? You'd think I have to do something special. Maybe something special will naturally occur. I don't know. I'm just, so far it's a Monday. Oh. I have a dentist appointment that morning. So I'm not necessarily restricted to being done at 8 o'clock. Depending on what we're working on, I can stretch further. So we'll see. We'll see what we got going on, and it'll probably be an extended session. Bluff. This is a very simplified version of a tree. But conifers grow in have radial symmetry like this. The deciduous trees that we did probably like back around episode 340. The deciduous trees are their branches are far more organic and don't have a specific pattern that they follow. But conifer trees are very specific about having this radial pattern of like a ladder stepping of their branches. This branch formation that we have here, this further edge could be the lowest, and then another rung up a few levels higher here, and another few rungs up here, and another few rungs up here. Like if you look at this one, for example, you can see the cone pattern, and you can see if we... Hold on. I'm lost in the sauce. Hold on, I have a point. There. Okay. Why was I chasing this? I don't remember what my point was. Never mind. Let's just get back to work. I swear I had something to say here. I just can't remember what the hell it was. So never mind, I guess. I'll just let that pass. Jeez. I'm going crazy, guys. These take like a while. My face is just itchy. It's like I'm going to withdraw from something. But the only thing I'm addicted to is self-punishment. So, I mean, how's that jive? Hey, what's up? Cheers to that, my guy. Thank you. Cheers to that, my guy. Thank you. I'm going to trim that down a little bit. Here we go. I'm not going to bother assembling the maps here on screen. That's not really exciting work. After the tokens are done, we put down the forest floor map, placemat as it were, and then we arrange a bunch of trees close together so they're all clustered close like a forest would be. And then underneath the canopy, we can have like rocks and briar brush and fallen logs and stuff to clutter the battlefield. But that assembly work isn't that's not premium content, you know. I won't have freedom of thought to be able to just ramble about stuff while I'm assembling a forest map. Because I'm gonna be futzing, spacing around and taking stuff back and rearranging stuff and cut paste, cut paste, cut paste, cut paste, and all that stuff actually requires concentration because it is it's following a process. So when I have to follow a process, you like when I'm I don't know, it's hard to think of something here offhand right now, but when I fall out of the creative space and into like graphic design work, I tend to talk less because my brain is being engaged in like what do I need to do as my next step, as opposed to just letting my brain turn off and just run content. Like I don't have to really, like while I'm doing, like this is technically just artwork, you know, I don't have to really think when I'm just doing art. It doesn't require focus or concentration at all. So I can just ramble on about whatever I want to ramble on about for however long I go. But so that makes for decent content. So that's why I always want to be focusing on actually creating some sort of painting artwork while I'm doing these art streams like this. When I'm doing a design stream in the evening or at lunchtime, and we'll be doing a design stream for the Rogue using the Martial Powers mana system. We'll be working on Rogue subclasses today at lunch around 2:30 Seattle time. That'll be 8 hours, a little less than 8 hours from now. We'll be back on and we'll be continuing that mana conversion for all the character classes. We made some innovations to the range. We made innovations to Ranger. Jesus. Take three. We modified the Rogue class base class features like sneak attack and accumulating power. We made modifications to that last night after we had finished the Ranger subclasses. So now we get to use the new Rogue class tech that we've built and start putting it down through the subclasses. It was a clunky mechanic that we had. It worked at the time, and I liked the idea of it, but the math on it wasn't so good. It used to be that when you make a sneak attack, you could sacrifice sneak attack dice to instead generate temporary mana so that you could use a strike power instead of just raw melee damage or just raw sneak attack dice damage. Like you could trade off like three dice to get a point of mana back that you could then convert into a martial strike, which in turn the martial strike adds additional dice of damage, but what type of die you would roll depends on what the strike is and the level of your character. So it got a little mealy, a little like, yeah, mealy is the right word. Like when you're trying to chew something, like it's not quite chewy, it's just kind of mushy. The mechanics of it felt mushy when we were using it. It's like it wasn't elegant, it wasn't easy to use. So instead, we just switched it so that when you do a sneak attack, you could either just you could either roll your normal sneak attack dice, or you could sacrifice all of your sneak attack dice and gain a number of mana up to your max channel limit. On a half caster, it's 1 to 5, like 5 at 17, and then you can spend all of that mana on a strike power. And if you're using sneak attack in the sneak attack dice, you can use weapon masteries with it instead. So like if I'm 5th level, I have 3d6 sneak attack damage, or I could like do an Asium strike, which is a second rank maneuver that I'd roll 2d6 damage, and if and the target that I hit, it makes a saving throw. If it fails the saving throw, any illusions and invisibility on that target is dispelled. So it's that's like a neat kicker effect that's probably worth more than a d6 damage. But at 7th level, you also can only wield up to 2nd rank power. So at that point, it would be 4d6 damage that you're sacrificing to get 2d6 damage back and the Asium strike. So at different class levels, it's like if I just want to deal raw damage, just going with sneak attack is probably the better option because I can still use the maneuver with it. But if there's a special, like if there's a specific strike that I want to use, like Thundering Strike, so I can punt my target 20 feet, like then yeah, I'm willing to give up the 4d6 at 7th level, the 4d6 sneak attack dice to roll 2d6 damage, but I get to punch that guy 20 feet into, I get to push him 20 feet away. It's like there's advantages, like all the tactical options that you get from strikes is often worth the loss of just raw damage that you would get from sneak attack. But like at 9th level, you get 5 6-sided dice, or you're rolling 3 8-sided dice, and you can use 3rd rank powers like provoking strike. Until you succeed in an intelligence saving throw, you can only attack me. Like that's really useful if you're playing keep away, especially if you're using like a ranged sniper rogue that can really screw up the enemies that you're fighting. And yeah, the spokes on these actually do get bigger as they get further away from the trunk. There should technically be like a bunch of striation like this, and then more striation like this, and then like this, and then like this. But that's just the amount of pixels is ridiculous. So I'm shorthanding it with these the main central spokes, and then the shoots that come off of it. So it's kind of a it's a symbol. Maps are symbols, so that's fair. But yeah, the rogue, I'm really happy with how that's coming along. What's really cool, at 5th level, like, and you get this at 1st level. So starting at 1st level, every time you get a sneak attack, you can use a strike power instead, which is actually really to your advantage at 1st level, because at 1st level you just get 1d6 dice, right? Well, your power die is also a d6. So you could deal sneak attack damage, or you could instead channel a 1st rank strike power, and the damage will be the same, but you get the kicker effect on top of it. So start right off the bat at 1st level, your rogue is doing cool shit with sneak attack, and then it's at later levels, it's like, I could do more damage if I just use a regular sneak attack. what's more important here? Do I want to do a condition or an effect on my target, or do I just want to kill it quick with damage? And if you just want to kill it quick with damage, then you just stick with your sneak attack dice. Otherwise, you get all this free mana every round. Every time you connect with a sneak attack, you get all this free mana to do these rampy effects. And then at 5th level, you have Cunning Power, which is when you generate that mana, you can spend it on a strike, like the current sneak attack that you're doing. You could spend it on that, or you can spend the mana that you generated to do something else during this turn. But at the end of the turn, the mana is lost. So use it now, or you're going to lose it. And most of the time, you're probably just going to channel it into a strike. But like if you have your bonus action still up, you could instead, like if you're like say 9th level, you get 3 points of mana. You could put like 1 point into a simple strike, and then use the other 2 mana to like use a maneuver as your bonus action to finish out your turn. So you have options there, and that's what we want to do. That's the whole point of the system, is to open up options so that your martial characters aren't binary anymore. That you can create your own action loops to help your team with prepared powers that you can swap when you finish a long rest. So your character always remains relevant to the current adventure, even if the venue, the type of monsters, the terrain changes. You can still kit into powers that are going to make sense for you in that particular adventure, as opposed to trying to be like a generalist. Because martials are kind of generalists. So I'm going to guess that this feat is something I'm always going to make use of in the adventure, regardless of where, who, and why. But with the power system, you can swap all those things out on long rests, and anytime you gain a level, you can swap powers. So I'm excited to take this new tech, because the tech is much simpler, and the rogue was really struggling on how to generate mana. It was like all the other martial classes have all these cool ways of being able to use like the fighter's second wind. Instead of gaining hit points, you can get mana back. You know, like the paladin lay on hands, you can give mana to other characters whose mana battery is running low. You can jumpstart them. You know, with lay on hands, it makes perfect sense. Like there's all these neat things that the other subclasses can do that the rogue just hasn't had any access to. So these new tools that we built is going to give the rogue an abundance of mana to be able to spend without losing anything, unless it's to your advantage to lose it. So better tech. Better tech. So that means that we have to rebuild the subclasses to integrate that tech. So we'll be doing that today. And then we have martial power playtesting this weekend. We have a rogue in our party, so hopefully they'll enjoy the changes that we made or have some feedback. I mean, the math works, and it's much simpler than what it was before, so it should jive. And we're 6th level, so you got 3d6. You got 3d6 sneak attack damage, or channeling second rank strike. It's 2d6 damage plus a kicker effect. We haven't had a rogue in the party since level 4, so we haven't really seen higher level. Like level 5 is hardly high level. We're level 6, so I mean, like that's hardly high level. But it was enough additional mechanical complexity using the rogue. I'm like, this is too fiddly. It has too many moving parts. We need to simplify. Simplify. That's what you want to do with game mechanics. Keep them as simple as you can, and if they have to be complicated, make them fun so that people are willing to endure the complication of your mechanics. But ideally, you want them to be simple, punchy, and intuitive to use, and of course, fun. We were also having I was also having an issue with stacking smite damage onto a sneak attack. So like you do your sneak attack damage and then spend mana to basically like double dip damage, and it was outpacing. It was significantly outpacing the paladin. So I decided to recant that. I was talking about that last night on stream, and initially I was okay with it, but the more I thought about it, it's like, you know what? So much shit has been taken away from the paladin because everyone can now channel basically divine smites. Like that's like just all marshals can do that. So the paladin really lost a lot of identity. So to also allow the rogue to do 25% more damage if they really just go all in, that was too much. It stripped way too much away from the paladin. So I had to take that away and keep the rogue doing up to 60 damage with a sneak attack, and that's also the cap that you can do. It's 5d12 at 17th level is the maximum amount of smite damage that you can do, or strike damage that you can do with power. Normally it's 5d10, but the martial strike power allows you to use a d12 instead of a d10 at 17th level. So that would be up to 5 times 12 is 60, 10 times 6 is 60. So at 17th level, it's either there's no reason for you to use your sneak attack dice. You should instead always be smiting, because it's the same amount of damage that you're going to roll, but you get the 5th level, you get the 5th rank smite power kicker effect. So it's just going to be added value. So you're just constantly going to be punching out as a sneak attack 5th rank strikes, just repeatedly just punching those out. So, and I love that. I think that's fantastic. That really makes the rogue stand out. Like just always doing maximum strikes every time you get a sneak attack in. And of course you can still do multiple sneak attacks if you have reactions. And if you kit into having multiple reactions, you can use those strikes against multiple targets per turn if you can pull off the sneak attack on them. So then then you're going to want to build a combat routine that assures advantage and positioning so that you can take advantage of the additional smites. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last bit out here. You get your last bit here. Bit here. Bit here. Unrelated news in the world of chess, my elo is now 889. I'm very, very close to getting into the 900 club. I'm looking forward to that. I really, once I get to 1500, it'll be a while, but I'll get there. I know I'm going to get there. It's just a matter of I'm just not practiced enough in chess, but I can already start to feel the board, like kind of intuiting what's going to happen. I love that. I love being able to catch that glimpse. I could do that with backgammon like all the time. Backgammon is amazing. It's you're throwing 2 6-sided dice and moving pieces on the board. But when you get really into backgammon, you can literally see the future of what the dice are going to do. You just know it. I'm going to roll 4s next. I'm going to like a roll of 4 and a 3 next. So I'm going to put these pieces here in anticipation of getting that 4 and 3 next roll. And when it comes up, you just feel amazing. It's like, hell yeah. Like, that's really being dialed in on backgammon. I can feel that same dialing in. Even though I play on chess.com, like online, I can feel my opponent through the screen, like what's kind of going on there. It's fascinating. I love it. So I'm really enjoying the chess experience. So I know I'm going to get at least the 1500. But I'm playing 10-minute rapid chess right now. So it's a 10-minute round, and you can lose by running out of time before your opponent. And so once I get to 1500, I'm going to start playing bullet 1-minute games. Because in bullet, that's when Ammon Hamilton is who I watch on YouTube a lot. During downtime and commuting. talking about chess theory and like different gambits and stuff like that, like how to like fundamental chess stuff. And he'll do bullet speed runs from like a brand new account to 2,000 elo. Like, how fast can I get there? Because he's a grandmaster. He is such a grandmaster. It's just a fucking Giga Chad. But watching his bullet games, it's so much of that game runs on instinct. That once you hone those instincts to respond properly, that's a space that I operate inside of really, really well. So much of what I just do in my normal life is built off of intuition and instinct anyway, because I have so much visual limitations. I have to rely on a lot of times I'm like, what does a situation feel like to me before I can really comprehend what's in that scene. So it's a pretty highly owned empathy. Just kind of feel what you're feeling, you know, if that makes any sense. So I can feel that energy while I'm playing chess. Just like occasionally on Roll20, I'll know what the dice are going to do on Roll20 as well, and that's really fun. There, okay, great. So those are our branches. That's good enough, TM. I'm gonna merge that down and conceal the rough draft. Now let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the next step is going to be using our conifer branch. I'm gonna grab this color here, and it's a 100 pixel brush that we use. And I'm going to let this expand out to here. And we're going to chain these together. I want to have a bit more shape. Like that. And we'll come through and we'll do a cleanup, and then we'll start filling in the gaps. Welcome to summer solstice. It is officially the longest day of the year. God smite the sun. No one asks for your life-giving energy. Sunlight blinds me. I cannot see out in the day at all. It's a little dangerous for me to play in traffic. Normally it'd be okay for kids to play in traffic, but I was never able to do it the way that I wanted to as a kid. This is too dangerous. So we're gonna do some cleanup in here. I'm gonna trim down these little squiggly bits. So we're just gonna go around the edge and trim this a little bit. Trim the bush. These are they're fun, but they're tedious. These are tedious pieces. That I don't want any. Generally, I'm trimming these down the same way because it's the same brush, just replicated. There's an obvious pattern to them as you look around the border. So I'm erasing all the prominent replicated portions of the brush stroke, just to keep the pattern, to be able to intuit the pattern, but to not make it so obvious to the naked eye. Yeah, I'll show you when I'm done. Once I complete my lap, I will be able to start filling in the canopy color. But you'll see how the pattern replicates, but doesn't feel cut and pasty, because we're personalizing each tree this way. Each of them, we're erasing portions of the ink information to make them similar and replicated, like symmetrical, but not you know, Xerox copies. Because in nature, you want to infer cut and paste, but iterations are critical. You have to have iterative deviation between each sample of whatever thing it is that you're doing. Like cows, no cows have the same pattern on their hide, right? Unless you know they're Appaloosas. I mean, white and black splotches is called Appaloosa, and no Appaloosa patterns are the same. Just like zebras, no pattern is the same, but they're all stripes. So when you look at a zebra and you see the stripes, it's like, oh, that's a zebra, but you don't know specifically which zebra, unless you can recognize the zebra pattern. Like, yeah, that's Louis. That's Louis's pattern. Maybe you've memorized that somehow. Maybe that's how they know each other from each other. See, now when you pan back and you look at it, it has this scraggly, pointy sort of edge to it, which is appropriate for a pine tree. We don't have these little scraggly outcrops on the deciduous tree tokens that we made. And these gaps are fine. Uh-oh. I made a mistake. I put this on the same layer. Ooh, dog, Kearney. Let's cut this free. There. I'll take that and that, and we'll go like this. And we'll go trunk. Now we got our canopy. Canopy. It's a can of pea. Line. Fill. Go to the fill layer. Grab this base color, go back to our circle. See, this is on a separate layer from the trunk underneath it. We're just building the canopy that sits on top of it. And these are separate JPEG tokens that you can stack. The trunk will be mostly transparent, but you can drop it into a VTT grid like Roll20, and it'll just snap to the grid. And then we have the canopy as a separate as a separate image that can sit on top of it. So you can have on the map layer, you can have all the trunks because you're not going to move those. But then as tokens, where'd I go? Thank you. And then come on back here now. Thank you. And then on the token layer, you can have all the tree canopies that you can lift and scoot around to get at. Like you can then lift them into the GM. Into the DM's plane, so that only the DM can see them, like with like 80% opacity, like 20% opacity or whatever. You can lift them out of the way so that the characters can see underneath the canopy of the tree. So like that's a good place to put monsters and stuff. Like one of the maps that we're making has a bunch of assassin vines that are hanging up in the branches of a big tree. So when your characters go underneath the tree, the assassin vines drop on them, and you're under attack. And that's important because later in the adventure in part 3, you're going through a flooded grotto in the underground facility, and you could be you can be jumped again by assassin vines that are growing in the murk of the Underdark there. And you'll have established foreshadowing from the tree. Like if you choose to include this, then you got to use it again later to help the team connect the dots. Like, yeah, being ambushed by assassin vines like that sucked, and now you're in this grotto again. And if you get attacked again, you'll be familiar with how to deal with the assassin vines. Because you get attacked by like 4 or 5 assassin vines at the same time. That's a whole lot of choking going on. It can dead you. It can dead you good. Lift you up into the tree and hang you. That's how assassins do. Silence and reflection, I suppose. Just filling in gaps here. This is what we're doing right now. And then we'll do the above. It's striated, so we have the scaffolding that rises in elevation with a conical pattern. So we'll have circles within circles within circles, and we're going to illustrate all that circulature here. So you'll see how I go about building that. Thank you, Timely Timer. How are we doing? 7-11. We still got 40 minutes. We should get done. We'll be done with this one, and we'll move on to the next one. So we have this pattern established, and now we're going to go back to our conifer branch brush here, and we're going to drop it down to, instead of 100 pixels, it's going to be 70 pixels. And first thing you want to do is establish your center point, which is here. Wrong color, Kearney. Let's fix that. This is the color we want to use. So we're going to make a central, we have the center of the spiral there. And I'm going to make this a separate layer because it should be. And then we're going to basically I'm going to get rid of the grid for now because the grid is distracting. But we're going to start by making a little, like a step. Adjust the taste. That becomes another layer, and then we'll further break it up into more and more layers. So we'll do another layer here. this. And then we'll go to, let's make another layer here for us to start filling in little tufts of over, like all the fluffing of the branches kind of hang over each other and poke out in different areas to be able to increase its overall effective catch area. So we're going to add in a little bit more details like this, like starting to curve into the shape. What I don't want to do is things like this, like have these vertical line, like these vertical radial lines coming out of the center. I want to try to avoid doing things like that. I want to have more curved volume like that. Like I can see a curve here. Like over like this. Maybe something like here. Erase that. There we go. Like this. There we go. So that's a start, and then we're going to create a shadow layer underneath this. Let's go down to here and create a new layer. We'll grab this. We're going to grab this dark color here, and we're going to grab our conifer tip brush that we used. We used all these brushes to make the pine trees in the painting yesterday, and now we're using the same brushes to create the texture for the tree tokens from an overhead view instead of a side or, you know, more organic, natural angle. So 60-point font for the shadow. Regardless of the size of the tree, this is the same process that I use for all of the trees. So there's a consistent patterning that happens throughout. See how this brush just naturally sits in the curve? Like here's an example, like right there. See that just naturally sits inside the pocket of that eyelash curved shape of the brush that we used for the border of the tree. That is actually a coincidence, but it speaks to the point that I was making yesterday, that, or was it 2 days ago, that you have your own, you start establishing like your own language, and like that's how you establish a style, by having like this consistent language, that visual language that you use in your illustrations. And for me, I think a lot of my identity comes from like the type of contrast that I introduce, like the lighting and contrast I use in my pieces, and the uniformity of curves and shapes. Like, I'm so used to doing angles and curves at the angles that I do, that all the things that I do just naturally fall into that same curve pattern. I haven't looked into the studies of it. I don't know if like it's some sort of Fibonacci sequence or something like that, something mathematical about what I do specifically. But when you're consistent in designing, like especially like when you're designing brushes, if you have that style established, then the brushes just naturally work together. And we're going to go around here and just cover these. I'm doing this to add volume and some shadow to it, and this is in a lower layer than the line art we just did. There's that, and that, and that. I can actually merge this down here. So this is underneath the line art that we're doing currently, because we're going to have highlights over the shadow that we're doing. So it's going to curve all together. Hey, Danny, how you doing? You designed all the... Yeah, I did. Actually, if you go to my Patreon, it doesn't cost you any money. I just ask for people to follow me. But if you're into Krita, Photoshop, Clip Art Studio, etc., it's an ABR file. It has all the brushes that I built. And yeah, I built all these off of Bob Ross paintings. When I was learning how to digitally paint like Bob Ross does in Photoshop, what I would do is I would pause his videos on YouTube, and like when he stabbed the page with a wet brush to make a bush clump, or when he was dotting on things like to do like flower tips or whatever, like he has these scattergun. All these like scattergun looking brush marks. Well, I would freeze the camera and then look at the pattern that he had hit with the brush, because there's millions of different variations that you'll get from a hairbrush. You know, like with like a brush tip that's got like 1,000 horsehairs on it. You're going every time you tap, it's going to create a different pattern. So it'd be impossible to have to replicate that level of complexity in a program until like we get to like real quantum level brush simulator software. It'd be ridiculous to track that many brush marks with different levels of pressure applied to it. It could be done. It'd just be ridiculously. It'd be a massive CPU sink. I don't know. It wouldn't be practical. But it could be done. So instead, what I did was I just basically all these brushes that we made are like in the family of natural brush marks that Bob would make when he hits his brush again, like when he's tapping his brush on the canvas to make different types of plant life. So all the brushes here are duplicating different patterns that Bob would use to make grass, or like a deciduous tree, or a conifer tree, or like snow on the side of a mountain by dragging his palette knife. There was these consistent patterns that kind of emerged from his work, because he has his own style as well, and that was his emergent style. So I was able to extract ideas from that in a static, like these brushes aren't dynamic. They aren't going to change their shape every time I tap them. But I can like change their size and their angle to create these jitter randomizing effects that when you look at the whole, they all work together. So each of the individual brushes are designed to work with each other at different layers and different colors on top of each other, or to be used as an eraser in combination with adding ink and then erasing ink to create these positive negative spaces. And if you've been around and watching the past 8 episodes, like the 490 series of me doing the Karrnwood Forest, you'll see me implementing all of these tools. And then if you go to my Patreon and you click on the link, you can download the brushes and have them. There's like 17 in the set. You can have all those brushes, but then I also have a link to another commission project that I did to do a scenery, a painting of Yggdrasil. I think I actually still have it. Hold on. Here it is. I did a process painting for this. So you can see all the brushwork that I did inside here, Bob Ross style. Like the mountain ranges back here. And I see flaws already that I could have done better. But overall, it's a pretty cool effect. So like here's like, that's all just pen artwork and graphic effects. Like hazes and stuff like that, different layering. But like the clouds that I did and the mountains and the hills that we have, this is all Bob Ross techniques using the brush set that I have down below or over on my Patreon. You can see here, like you can see you can see these conifer brushes that we're using here. Like you can see that pattern is like here, like you can see it replicated over and over again in these trees. But when you pan out, your eye just accepts, yeah, that's an evergreen. You know, your eye just melts it in and makes it happen. Like this bush here, it's just little smudge marks on top of sticks, on top of a tarn. But when you pull back, your eye is like that's a flower bush. So it all just melts together. Here's the rock terrain that we made. So a lot of this is based on like what resolution are you looking at it, but it works. So just like Bob, it's like you pull away to see the whole of the piece, and it just kind of clicks together. So, but this is the kind of stuff like you can see like this little pathway that's going on down here, down towards the water line, and it curves off. But yeah, that's the same brushes. And now that we're making a conifer tree token for the overhead view, I'm still using those same brushes that we used in the conifer painting this week. So the language is the same. Because in the actual book, you'll go through a few pages of maps, and then you'll hit that painting, and it's going to have the same look and language in the trees as we've been establishing here. Anyway, there you go. So fun stuff. I think it's fun. Let's see. The next thing that we want to do is our final layer of line art. We have the right brush already. We have the right color. We're going to take it down to a 40-point font. Oops, let's get the right color. I was wrong about the color. Let's make sure we have it. Beep, beep, be-doo. I should, you know what? I should do some cleanup here real quick first. Get rid of these little knots that form between connecting them together. Melt away the knots and it'll make it a little bit more uniform. I like these pointy bits sticking out. I don't like the pointy bits sticking out so much at the base outline, but interior I like the stabbiness of it. Hey, what's up? Yeah, the brushes were for 500 subs. I just never got around to publishing them. So I only just published them last week when I was already at like 580 or something like that. But yeah, the 500 sub. That's something I promised a year ago. When I got to 500 subs, I'd share my brush set, and I finally got there. So finally followed through on my promise. Just further evidence that if I say I'm going to do something, I'll eventually get it done. I don't know how fast I'll do it, but I will do it. And so far, that's been true for all the books I've wanted to create and all the different art and stuff that I've done. I've so far been able to hold all my promises. There we go. That's a little bit cleaner. Now we can get back into this. go. Let's build inside here first. Hey, what's up? Oh, I came a bit late, but congrats. What's up? Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, hardly late. Hardly late at all. God's willing, we're just beginning, right? Hardly late. Hardly late at all. God's willing, we're just beginning, right? I see other art streams that just paint and ramble on like this, and you know, with like 80,000, 120,000 subscribers, and it's like, well, you've been at this for like 6 years, so you've obviously earned it. So I'm going through that same slow, steady process. What's really important for me to be able to sustain this channel is to not rely on trends and algorithms. I want to be able to just do what I do because I love to do it, which is painting and you know, talking out of my ass while I do it, like I'm doing right now. Like this is peak creative time for Phil. This is the ideal. What I'm literally doing right now, it's not a particular type of piece. Like right now we're doing map tokens, and on Monday we'll be, I don't know, painting Ader Academy, or who knows what we're gonna do next. But the point is that I want to be able to build my channel around the idea that I'm always working on a different piece of art or stock art or maps or whatever it is that I'm developing is necessary for the next thing that I'm going to be publishing, and that the audience that I attract isn't like I don't know when I'm going to do another Bob Ross painting. It might be next week. It might be a few months from now that I do another Bob Ross painting. If that's the only reason somebody is subscribed, after a couple weeks, they're gonna be like, this dude's never doing any Bob Ross paintings, I'm out. And that's fine. You were here, you know, here today, gone tomorrow. It's all the same, but I'm going to just keep producing stuff. And so as long as I just keep producing stuff, eventually your tribe arrives. You find them. And because you resonate, like the things I talk about or the attitude I have or whatever resonates with people, with the right people that catch the audience. And you eventually just build. So this is probably the biggest endeavor that I've ever taken on, that I have no expectations of any kind of fast victories at all. I don't want a fast victory. I used to want to see results from my efforts right away. Like if I don't yield results from this in 3 weeks, I'm going to try something else. And it's like, I got out of that. Like artwork is the only thing that ever got me out of that mentality. Because this has to be something, for this to work for me, it has to be something I want to do regardless of what it is. That I'm not dependent on trends and whims, that I'm just doing what I do. And it just builds itself after time. You know, if that makes any sense. And I'm on the wrong layer. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna go back to the other one though. What I do need to do though is I don't like this edge here. I wanna change that up. Let's make this a bit more interesting. There we go. Get rid of that. These should not be on that layer, so I'm gonna get rid of those and go back to the layer it's supposed to be on, which is here. But that's me talking business. Sometimes people don't like hearing how the sausage gets made. But the philosophy behind it is important to me. I started this stream because I don't think it's well known like how much effort goes into making an RPG product. So like I go through all of those steps and let you guys watch how that works. Like there's a shitload of stuff that goes into doing these things. It's ridiculous. It's more art than it is production, you know? Like just the amount of effort that goes into creating RPG content at all. It's definitely an art form, not just production. I don't like that angle. Let's change that. Like, I could probably do like 2 or 3 of these things and just like flip and rotate them and call it good enough, but that's not the way that I want to run business, you know? I don't want to put out a 300-page monster book every 4 months. Like, that just feels fucking ridiculous. Like, when I publish something, I want to know it works. I want to handcraft this stuff. I want to make sure that it meets my specifications, what I think is good gaming. Like, playtesting adds so much time to your production time for a book, but when it's done, you can stand behind it and understand, why did I make these decisions? And if something ends up being broken and it needs to be fixed that you missed, then it's not a big deal to be able to go back through and fix it, because you understand why it's going wrong in the first place. It's like, oh yeah, I can fix that. I want to adjust this curve here as well. Like that. So some of this content's more interesting than others. Which is why I like the study hall vibe of it, you know, really casual. It's a good thing for if you're working on your own shit. Listening to me ramble on in the background might be helpful for you, just to keep pushing through. I like listening to D&D content, like while I'm designing or I'm off stream, because I just like hearing conversation from people. I see text. Give me a hot second. I'll catch up. So, hey Danny, I like to hear it. Stick to your guns. You're an honest dude. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm in no hurry. I'm in no hurry. With God's grace, I'll be doing this for another 20 years. I have no idea what this thing can grow into in 20 years. But I do know that this muse in my heart, she just won't shut the fuck up unless I build this book. This is just this ethereal signal just pounds through me and it says produce. So I produce, and it just turns out that, you know, YouTube is a platform I can use to talk at people, because artwork is such a lonely business. It's so lonely, and if you don't have some sort of community that you can connect with, somehow it's a path to madness. So I would not be able to do the things that I've been doing, these books I've been building. I wouldn't be able to pull it off if I didn't have a growing YouTube community that gives me some place for me to vent and to talk about what's on my mind and to not think about the artwork. Like when I'm not on stream, I a lot of times I just like listen to the thunderstorm tracks, or like I'll listen to like Led Zeppelin or whatever. I enjoy listening to music, but I can immediately feel the loneliness of it. When I was growing up as a kid, when I would do artwork, I'd do it in my room when I'm hanging out with friends. Like they'd be playing guitar or writing or whatever, and it would be this real casual atmosphere where we're just doing creative stuff together, just spending time. And, you know, if there was a conversation point, if something came up to talk about, then cool, we're going to talk about it. But that didn't stop me from being able to art while I was doing it, because I could still sketch and shade and do whatever while I'm talking to somebody and being sincere about whatever the topic is and giving them my actual attention. And that's something that if you don't constantly have friends and relationships that allow you to be around each other like that, that isolation sinks in really fast, especially for artists. because art is an intrinsically lonely task. You can't, even if you're collaborating with somebody on a painting, you're still working on separate spaces of the painting. You can't literally be painting over each other's paint at the same time. Even if you have like a penciler and an inker and a colorist in comic books, all of them are working alone on the same panel at separate times. So even though you have 3 people collaborating, they're all in a isolated silo of their own effort. Anyway, there you go. I was in an art community here in Seattle for a little while. We do drink and draws, where people would grab their tablet or their pad of paper and some pens, and we'd go to a pub, order a couple pints or some pictures, and then just start arting. But after a while, it became more and more about just hanging out and drinking and then hooking up, and it's like this isn't why I'm here. I love you guys, but this isn't. The vibe, it was too much of a pub atmosphere and became too much about pubbing instead of actually doing artwork. It's like I really wanted to get some artwork done today, but I don't feel like I'm getting it done, so I ended up bailing out of that community. And I lament the loss of camaraderie, but it also was completely I could have gotten some stuff done tonight had I not gone on this adventure. Your friendship is excellent, but the pretense is production, and there's nothing being produced. So I gotta bail. So I have things I want to make. I have actual things I want to make. Anyway. Let's erase a bit of that. Ramble on, sing my song, round the world, find my girl, on my way. Been this way 10 years today, I'm gonna ramble on. Brush, brush, brush. There we go. It's starting to feel pretty good. A little sparse over here. We'll add in just a couple little tufts here like that. And then I don't like that pattern there, so and I don't like that either. Let's do that instead. There. Back to here. One tree. Ah. So much for a single tree. Oh man, it's looking good though. I like this one. This is good looking. This density is good. It's starting to thin out a little bit over here, so I just want to be mindful of that. That feels better already. Good. And this is a little sparse, so I'm going to add that in there. And a bit in here like that. That's starting to look good. Almost there. Stay on target. What time is it? 7:43. I've got 10 minutes. Okay, we'll get this one done. And then we still have 5 more to do after this, but they're a lot smaller. I'll be finishing those over the weekend. I'm not gonna. This is the only session I'm spending doing this. Unless there's really good conversation going and I'm really philosophizing about game mechanics or whatever. This is not high quality content. But this is part of the workflow, so I wanted to share it, just so you guys could see what it is that we do here. Get rid of that. Bring that in here like that. Just like that. A little sparse so we can. That angle never ends right. It needs to. I can't have like a circle inside of a circle inside of a circle. It's too. It's too much of a pattern. It's an unnatural. It looks unnatural. Even if it is natural, it's in context that we're working here. It doesn't feel natural, so it doesn't jive. Like this is breaking into 2 separate loops here, so this is okay. But we should really have it broken like that. Like that's better. That's way better. I think I have enough density here. I'm gonna just pick at this for a second here like that. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Okay, cool. So we can drop that, add this back in, add in another layer, go back to our conifer tips, pick up our highlight layer here. Zoom back out. We're at 60 pixel, and now we're looking to the center here. I'm gonna start doing radial pattern here like this, having these tips pointing towards the center. Same brush as eraser, 60-point font. Here's our pattern. Again, we're looking towards the center. Towards the center. A lot of work for maybe not important detail, but it's just it's the completionism and it's the commitment to providing useful tools that compels me to do the work. I could do this faster. I could do it with simpler, simpler map assets, whatever. It's just this is what feels right. And me trusting that feeling has gotten me everywhere in my life. So it's an ongoing training of me just learning to trust my intuition. I think that's what my entire life has been built around, is learning to trust my intuition. The only time I have, honestly, the only regrets I have in my life is when I don't follow my intuition. Like learning just to listen to that inner whisper that seems to know so much more about what's going on in life than I do. And all it wants to do is guide me to the things that I've asked for in my life. You gotta be careful though to not blame yourself when you don't follow your intuition. You can't hate shame yourself, because sometimes you're not supposed to listen to your intuition specifically so that you can have that sense of this, there's purpose here. You can validate the purpose through the emotions that you feel in response to how you choose to act in a situation. And the more you're aware that there's an intuitive drive that happens in all the things that you do, you can observe, are you following your heart or are you actively ignoring your heart? And both of them have valuable lessons. But you have to be willing to accept that if I don't follow my intuition and I don't get the things that I want, it's not because I'm wrong and didn't follow my intuition. It's that I can feel that it's there, and for some reason I wasn't open to reaching for it. That's not something to be ashamed of. That's something to observe. That's something to know about yourself. Hey, I feel like I'm making progress here. I'm about to cross the 900 elo in chess. Am I going to sabotage myself because I don't feel like I actually deserve 900 yet? Or am I open to that and I feel I'm ready to gain that level? And so when my final, like I'm 2 games away from getting into, I'm at 889 right now. So that's 11 away from breaking 900. That's 2 games. If I win my next 2 games, I'm in the 900 club. But then I could immediately lose it. Like previously, like last month, I was at 720 and I got up to 850, and then I lost like 6 games in a row. Like, what the fuck is going on? And I knew it was because I didn't think that what I was doing was worth being solid 800 yet. I was making mistakes. I was hanging pieces. I was missing obvious forks. It's like, obviously I'm not there yet. And so I go back and I train more and I do more puzzles and I get better at noticing these patterns. And it's like, I can see that pattern. And every time that you identify a pattern or like remember something, it's like, that is evidence that I am operating at a higher level than where my number reflects. And as a result of that, my score rises. Because you just start falling into pockets of, oh, these people are doing things that I recognize. I know what I know what's going to happen if I go down this path. I'm not going to go down that path this time. I'm going to do this instead. And that's an example of me following my intuition, because I'm in a place where I am prepared and ready to follow what my intuition already knows. It already knows how to win the game. It knows what this painting is going to look like. It knows all these things outside its time-space bubble, because intuition exists outside of time. So it's not subject to what will happen. It already knows. And all it wants to do is guide you to those things in an effort for you to realize yourself more. It doesn't care about consequences. It cares about awareness. It's all your intuition cares about. Can you feel me? Can you feel this? Can you hear this? Are we connected? That's all it cares about. You can dream for whatever you want or whatever you have, but arriving at places that shock and surprise you, that is your intuition at work through you. It wants you to appreciate the fact that you can appreciate. The act of appreciation for the sake of appreciation is an act of love, for the act of love. Love wants to love itself more than anything else. We are emotional creatures capable of experiencing that. that makes us unique on this planet. I don't know, maybe dolphins can do it. Like self-aware appreciation is apparently a fairly rare thing, even among humans. Anyway, that's what I think about. But the more I turn off my brain and the more I allow the conversation to flow through me, the more the muse gets to push the pixels. The more I can distract myself from the fact that I'm working on a painting, the less I'm thinking about the painting, the more my co-pilot, my muse, gets to steer the ship. If I'm not paying attention to my electrical patterns inside myself, something else can. And when you have a trusting relationship with that other self, your intuition, you become as much of a passenger or an audience member as everyone else here in chat is. So at a lot of levels, like I have an idea, like I know I want to make a tree, but I don't know what the individual branches are going to be. I don't know where individual tufts of leaves are going to be at. That's just part of the painting flow process. And that's just discovery. So the more I can turn off my brain and just observe what's being produced, even though I'm the one that's producing it, I'm not specifically paying attention to it. I'm just letting it flow. And then I can sit back and like, oh, that looks really fucking cool. And I can then feel proud. I was the hand that created this. It was beyond my capacity to imagine it, but here I am building it. I feel that way about like most of the books that I make, like the D&D games, the role-playing supplements that I make. It's like I am amazed that I was capable of creating a color mana system for Magic the Gathering that works incredibly well in D&D. It's ridiculously good. I couldn't have done that. It was inspired. So I take no. I mean, obviously I was the one that went through the process, but it was being gifted to me. Every day that I got to build another page of that, it's like, wow, this is amazing. That this is actually just coincidentally everything just folds into place. All the logic is there, the simplicity is there. It's elegant. It's beyond my own degree. Like I can't actively create something as elegant as that system. That was just something that manifested through me, and I got to be the guy that just witnessed it happening through my hand. Like that's amazing. I will never stop being amazed and love and appreciate and be grateful for what can be produced. Anyway, there you go. And that resonates with some people and not with others. But that's the type of stuff that ends up cropping up when I escape down the rabbit hole far enough to turn off my brain. Gratitude comes out. What can I say? I'm God's child. But yeah, each one of these things takes a while to do. This past week off screen, I've made 15 other of these, and it's like you can see is like I've been working on this one specifically for like an hour and a half. Like they take a little bit of time to build. It might be ridiculous the amount of time that I'm actually spending on it, but this feels like the best way for me to create this token. So here we are. But I won't do more than one of these. This will be the only session that I work on this. This is because it's not exciting. Towards the center. Always towards the center. ... brings us back to dough. Dough. And next layer. This add erase patterning, it just works out really well. Using the same brush to add and remove ink, it just helps create these fun patterns that just fit into each other really naturally. Erase that a bit just to bring it down some. Open up some space to do another pattern round. Another wheel of it. Good. I'll fill in the next spoke. There we go. And erase some of the pattern away so we can duplicate it again. And like here we're getting to the edge of this ridge, so like this part is done, but we still need to do that. We can fill that in, do that there, fill that in. Here's a bit we can fill in. Here's a bit we can fill in. But for the most part, this ring is done over here. So then we go back over to here. Here, and then we erase there. Like that part is done. This part is done. And we can erase inside of here. This portion is done. So there we go. That's now done. Done. Here and here, and see, just slowly filling it in. And we do the next rung. Just following the contours of the next striation of branches. I was on the wrong layer. There we go. Yeah, erase around all that. Hey, what's up? Oh, I'm seeing ghosts again. Little things. I swear I see like little text bumps over here, but then I look over and there's nothing actually there. Ghosts. I tell ya. Ghosts are bots that are getting auto-deleted. One or the other. It's not like I have any kind of automation running or anything. There, just keep pacing around, pointing towards the circle in the center. That's complete, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. That's complete, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. There we go. A little bit of sparse here. We can fill that in. A little sparse over here. Fill that in. There we go. Now we're getting towards the gooey center. These things are just mind-numbingly dull to do. figuring out how to do, like I had to figure out how to do this, but once I figured out how to do it, it's like, oh my god, what a boring method of production. Just spamming this, just replicate. It's like there's no elegance to this. It's just brute production. There, and then whoop. There we go. Here's our next one. And we add our grid back in. And we add our floor back in. There you go. That's our next tree done. Whew, boy oh boy. So let's fill, that's the canopy over the skeleton of the branches, and there you go. That's our next one. We'll drop this together and we'll call this one Pine 15. And here's our next one. Step on up, buddy. You're next. So center that up. Get rid of that. Drop down the opacity so it doesn't get in the way of production. Add a new layer. Switch to black. Round brush. And we start all over again. And we, like you know, unless there's good conversation going, it's pretty dull. We got this one, and we got 1, 2, we got 4 more. Yeah, this one and 3 more after this one. So, and it's oh shit, it's 8:06. I'm late, so I gotta go. I'm gonna bounce out of here. I'm gonna be back in 6.5 hours. It'll be 2:30 p.m. Pacific time in Seattle, -8 UTC. We'll be working on rebuilding the rogue subclasses using the color mana system for 5e24. Thanks a lot, guys, for hanging out with me. I gotta bounce. I'll be back later on today. So like, subscribe, and get notification of when I'm up again. I'll see you guys then. Cheers.